Yes, guys, what's happening? And welcome back to another episode of the Blues Brothers podcast. It's been a while. It's the first one this year. I've been busy doing other bits and pieces, but the podcast is now back and we're back with a bang. As you can see, I'm delighted to be joined by the main man himself, the Parisian Londoner, big PSG fan. Mate, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate the invite. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to getting stuck into this one, mate. As always, let's start the podcast with asking guests about the team they support and kind of why they support them. So obviously you're a big PSG fan yourself. What's the story behind you following PSG and how long have you been following them for?
Right. So the story behind this is I'm a born and raised Parisian. So it's my local club. So I moved to London 5 years ago, but I was born in Paris. So I'm really in favor of people supporting their local club, even if it's a shit club. And back in the days, trust me, we were kind of shit, you know. And so that's my city. I love my city. So I love the club of my city. I had pretty much no choice in the sense that my father, my brothers, everyone in the family was supporting PSG. And even if we were not successful back in the days, I support PSG since I'm born. Obviously, when I was a baby, I did not have the choice, but the scarf was next to my carry coat, I'd say. I was born with this, and I kept following my team. Was involved in the stands as well with some ultras back in the days, and yeah, man. I mean, obviously the club has changed a lot. We'll discuss this afterwards, but yeah, supported my team pretty much my whole life, to be fair.
And you just touched on it there. How much has the club changed, obviously, since you've been following them? Of course, you know, the Qatari-backed takeover came a few years ago now, but that's taken a little bit of time even from then to get to where it is now. But yeah, even before then, I mean, you were obviously there with the likes when Ronaldinho was there, etc. I mean, exactly. How different was the club back then compared to what it is now? Was it just kind of a small club in France?
Basically, they arrived in 2010. Obviously, they came with the oil money. They invested a lot in the club, not only the players, but also the infrastructure, the academy as well that they are developing right now. And obviously, they developed some fashion, cultural partnerships everywhere to increase the international aspect of the brand. So the issue, the thing is, it's a good thing because now on the international stage, everyone is paying attention to PSG thanks to the fact now it's more of a brand rather than a football club. But we needed to pay the price for this, obviously, from a football perspective. As you can see now, the project of the owners is obviously to because they invested so much money. They want some return on their investment. So obviously, they sometimes we have the impression they are recruiting players only to sell kits. They are adding superstars next to each other. Like pretty much like the Avengers, right? It's like a Marvel movie, and sometimes it does not make sense from a football perspective. And obviously, the club has changed a lot, mate. It's a completely different club. Comparing to back in the days, even if we still have a hardcore fan base of, I'd say, 20,000, 30,000 PSG fans from the early stages, the early days. But yeah, now you have PSG fans in Asia, you have fan clubs everywhere in California. I think they opened a shop in Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles, so you know, and also with the Jordan collaboration and things like that. And I actually noticed this when I arrived here in London. When I was working I live in Shepherd's Bush in West London, not too far from the bridge, by the way.
Yeah.
My local club is QPR. They don't really like you, by the way, as well.
No, they don't.
So big up to QPR. But yeah, mate, there were, you know, people walking in the streets like with Jordan tracksuits of PSG, video clips of grime and drill music with the guys wearing the PSG kits or Jordan tracksuits and that. And I was just walking down my street, and then there were these guys wearing a PSG tracksuit. So I went to him and I was like, "Oh, you're a PSG fan?" He was like, what? And then he answered. He was like, what do you mean? So you were wearing a PSG tracksuit. You were PSG. Do you support PSG? That no. It just looks sick, man. That's it. I was like, oh, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake, man. Why again? You know,
Mate, I have to say, like, I'm a little bit guilty of that myself. Like, I love football, obviously. Like, I do collect shirts and stuff, but I've got a couple of PSG shirts myself. I was saying to you earlier, and it's not because I support the club. It's just because they look really nice. And obviously, as you were saying to me before we started live, how are you concerned? Are like PSG fans concerned? Are there a section of fans that are concerned that the club is like slightly losing its roots and is becoming more of a kind of a brand, a fashion brand, sort of trying to make a lot of money through marketing and stuff? Because there seems to be like new stuff coming out all the time. I mean, how do you feel? How do you feel about that as a fan? And what's the general consensus amongst other fans you speak to?
It's kind of most of us, we kind of pissed off about this in the sense that the fans are now consulted around what are the colors of the kits, the designs and everything. But I know most of the fans these days with modern football, they don't have anything to say around this. But at least from some of the historic clubs, can be Nike, can be Adidas, can be Puma. At least they need to respect the original colors and designs of the corresponding clubs. We are a very young club, born in 1970. So even QPR is 1882, I think. So we are babies. We are literally babies in this game. And when you're a baby, if you already start to forget about your history and your original values, roots, colors, and everything, it starts to be complicated to build something in the long term, in my opinion. But yeah, man, I mean, the kits of this season, for example, have been quite complicated, especially the away one. Even the home one, the away one, I don't know if you've seen the away one, but it's white and pink.
Is that the pink
bit?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Whereas this is supposed to be our away kit design that we had for years with the red banner here. And you know, this type of stuff obviously confirms the fact that the strategy of the owners is not really focused on football, but more around the marketing and the international image of the brand. And that's why we're struggling from a football perspective as well. Because as you can see, this season on paper, everyone is saying, "Wow, PSG is having." Even on FIFA, you cannot dream about having this kind of team. You know what I mean? And on paper, this is something, but football is more complicated than this. And we have the impression sometimes the owners are completely outside the reality of football, and they're more business focused, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying. I just wanted to move it forward to a little bit more recently. Not PSG right now. We'll come to that in a sec. But obviously, myself being a massive Chelsea fan, delighted to have Thomas Tuchel at the club, as well as Thiago Silva, who's been unbelievable for us over the 2 seasons he's been here. What were your thoughts? Obviously, we're delighted we got Thomas Tuchel. He's done fantastically well for us in a short space of time. You know, Champions League, Club World Cup, Super Cup, making all the finals that he's made. What did you make of his time at PSG? Obviously, got you to your first ever Champions League final. Watched the final against Bayern Munich. I thought bang unlucky not to win that, really. Definitely the better side on the night, I would have said. And then obviously he was sacked on Christmas Eve in 2020. I'm not sure. I mean, you'll be able to tell me a bit more about it. I'm not sure he quite saw eye to eye with Leonardo, the sporting director.
There you go. There you have it. That's a special thing. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. In regards to Thomas Tuchel, it was a bit of a slow start for him. We were concerned about his German way to coach the team. Sometimes was playing players in weird positions, such as Marquinhos, which is actually one of the best defender in the world, centre back, and he played him in the midfield, for example, sometimes, and we were really surprised by those kind of decisions. But step by step, he proved that he was quality. Obviously, he took us to our first Champions League final ever. So I mean, big up to him for that. I mean, there's nothing else to say apart from the fact we've been unlucky, considering that it's a former PSG player that scored against us again, as well. So very unlucky. But as you mentioned, he had a very, very complicated relationship with our director of football, Leonardo. And it's not only about him, mate. It's all our previous coaches. They had issues with him. Before him, it was the same with Unai Emery as well. And then I think the season he left, he won the Europa League right after.
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel left. He won the Champions League right after. And I think all our gaffers, they had issues with him. It's not really about the gaffer, but more about how it works and how it's structured internally at the club. It goes up to the top of Nasser El Khalifi, the president of PSG, and even the Sheikh of Qatar having huge decision power over the club as well from a football perspective. So when you have a coach like Thomas Tuchel that needs some decision power from a football perspective, decide who he wants to recruit, what system he wants to play, which player should be on the bench, etc., etc. And you have Leonardo or even Nasser Al-Khelaifi or even the Sheikh of Qatar that says, okay, but I spend loads and loads of money on this one, so you need to play him. Then obviously it impacts the football. So no, I have to say it's been great with us. I think we completely missed out on him because of our internal issues, and obviously he proved the season after joining you guys that we did a terrible mistake. We've been quite happy with him, to be fair. But yeah, nothing else to say apart from the fact that it was complicated internally, so they got rid of it on Christmas Day as well, which is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never surprised, when big clubs get rid of managers. As you said, the hierarchy at PSG is notoriously quite difficult to get along with. As you say,
this is a house of cards. Do you know House of Cards?
Yeah,
this is House of Cards at PSG, mate.
But as you say, when you got, do you is it widely recognised? I mean, amongst PSG fans, particularly that, the owners, as you touched on, are they kind of picking these players? I guess, for example, Neymar, world record signing. That was a board signing, wasn't it? That was a kind of Qatar. That was a Qatar signing. That wasn't necessarily the manager at the time saying,
exactly.
Right, I want Neymar. It was like PSG seeing it as an opportunity, and it comes back to what we saw before, to tap into new markets. Neymar's got massive global appeal.
Exactly.
It comes back to that. I mean,
exactly. What do you think happened with Messi then? See,
it's exactly the same. It's the
even
same.
mate. We will touch base on this legend here, Thiago Silva, but we got rid of him in a very disrespectful way as well. He's a legend of the club.
Did he get offered a new contract? He wasn't offered anything, was he?
Nothing, mate. We got rid of Cavani, our best scorer ever, the same way we got rid of Thiago Silva in a very disrespectful way, and pretending that Thiago Silva was too old for the club, etc. Look what we did. We replaced Thiago Silva by Sergio Ramos. And Sergio Ramos hasn't played. I mean, he played like 1 or 2 games, always injured, and
off as well.
You know what I mean? And that does not make any sense. You said Thiago Silva is too old, and you replace him by Sergio Ramos. He's not even playing with us. So those kind of decisions are I find them very hard to understand, to be fair. But yeah, as you said, the strategy of the club is to sign players who actually can. That's what I think now. Who can actually expand the fan base.
Yeah.
And we were not really. Neymar was alright, but not really. We've been traumatized by Barcelona. We hate Barcelona, especially the remontada, and exactly. But we can discuss the ref afterwards. But that's another topic. But mate, Neymar, he traumatized us during this game. Messi has traumatized us as well. We had the impression that it was a bit like the Stockholm syndrome. Like you bully us, so if you bully us, then we're gonna get your best players, so you don't bully us anymore. But us, real PSG fans, we're like, those players are and will always remain Barcelona players.
Yeah.
The Neymar prime was not with us; it was with Barcelona. No. Messi prime is not with us; it was with Barcelona, and I think he will never perform with us anyway. Because he's too old and he has nothing else to prove anymore. But Yeah, same for Sergio Ramos. Like, why are we doing this? Okay, they were on a free transfer, so we haven't paid anything for the transfer, but we still need to pay the wages. And they're not bringing it. Neymar is different because the first 2 seasons of Neymar were incredible.
Yeah.
He was great with us. Now he's, let's say, 50-50, I'd say. But yeah, man, it's just sometimes it's really frustrating. We have the impression that they just recruit players to expand the fan base and nothing else. And sometimes it does not make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Neymar. Obviously, the documentary come out recently on Netflix.
I've watched it as well.
I watched it as well. I've got to be honest. I thought it was quite good in terms of. He comes across very well. He's just a guy that plays football at the end of the day, and the pressure on the guy is unbelievable. But what I would say is, do you feel as a PSG fan, do you feel he's slightly underwhelmed since he signed? Like in terms of the fact that coming for world record fee, PSG not really not really that much closer to winning the Champions League than they were before he signed. He's constantly he's been injured a lot. You always have the
and no, because he was part of the team that reached the Champions League final.
He
as
was,
well.
And then obviously you have issues kind of off the pitch. Every year, the sister's birthday, etc.
Yes.
And also the fact that he openly admitted that back in 2019 that he tried everything possible to go back to Barcelona.
Exactly.
How does that sit with PSG fans?
It was really hard for us. Considering the fact that, as you can see during in the Netflix documentary, his father forced him to stay because he wanted to leave and go back to Barcelona. His father forced him to stay, and the Sheikh of Qatar also forced him to stay. It's a bit like prison FC now. Like when you have a player that does not want to play for your club anymore, we should not force them to stay. Look what's happening with Mbappe right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're getting just leave the guy alone. He's a young kid. If he wants to leave, he wants to leave. Why are you getting they're getting political figures involved, former prime ministers? Like, what are you?
Does not make any sense. And also the pressure, as you mentioned, so the pressure is super high on the guy. That's for sure. But when you have a player publicly stating in the Spanish press, or even I think it was on the French papers as well, that he wanted to leave the club, and that his best football memory was the remontada against PSG, and when he said this, he was an actual PSG player, so it hurts us a lot, and we were really pissed off, and we were in favor of him going back to Barcelona, to be fair. What's happening right now with Mbappe? We know he always dreamt of playing for Real Madrid. Why are we forcing him to stay? Why are we involving politicians and this? I mean, and we true fans want. I know it's really complicated these days with modern football, but we want players to play for the badge, and players to play because they want to play for this club and they want to be here. If they play but their head is somewhere else, or they're forced to play for the club, what's the point? I prefer to be mid-table or even bottom of the table and have players that are playing like QPR yesterday against Blackpool until the very last second, 10 men against 11, and they won with the last minute winner because they did everything they could for the badge. And it's just QPR, but it's good to see some players involved like this on the pitch. And what we have right now is just Messi walking around, taking his paycheck. Obviously, Neymar is here, but he's usually injured and does not really want to be here. I've seen that recently. He said that he wants to play in the MLS. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, he'd love to play MLS before his career is done. Yeah,
exactly. So
because
apparently he wants to play MLS because he's going to have more holidays.
Probably. Yeah.
But yeah, the sister birthday, as you said, is probably in contract, to be fair. Maybe he has negotiated this with the club before he joined the club, saying, I will join, but you need to leave me alone when it's my sister's birthday. We don't know.
We don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just lastly on Neymar before we move on. I mean, what do you make of him as a footballer? I mean, obviously, clearly very talented, one of the most talented footballers I think there's been in a long time. But again, seems to be very inconsistent. Can often go
I was
missing.
about to say,
Can go missing quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, referring back to the documentary, he's done good things at Paris, but you watch him in his first particularly the first 2 or 3 years at Barcelona.
Nothing to compare.
He was unbelievable.
Nothing to compare.
It doesn't even compare. I mean, Neymar's been there quite a while now, more than 5 years. What do PSG fans think of him? Do you think, like, ultimately, I know he's not finished yet at PSG, but would you say it's worked out so far?
He did what he had to do. I expect nothing and nothing more from him. To be fair, I think the first two seasons, that's maybe the first 3 seasons where he's prime with us, not the prime Neymar, but the best he was able to do with us. Now I don't expect anything anymore from him. But as you mentioned, he's really inconsistent, and that's the issue we have at PSG. We have very good players, but most of them are inconsistent. I can mention Verratti. I can mention all the players that are pure gems but are inconsistent. And that's the case with Neymar. He's a genius. Obviously, he's an amazing player, technical, talented, skills, love of football. Obviously, like Ronaldinho had back in the days. And but the problem is that at this level, we need players we can rely on. And I can't say we can really rely on Neymar. He has a huge impact on the team. We can definitely spot this. For example, against Real Madrid, when he played,
a flick to Mbappe. Yeah.
So he has a critical impact when he wants to play, but it's always like this. He chooses his games, he chooses his moments, like the entire team pretty much. Like Messi, chooses when he wants to be decisive or it's just that most of them are inconsistent, and Neymar is the perfect example.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I mean, just on it, do you think? I mean, talking of Lionel Messi, PSG have obviously wanted Messi for quite a while. They tried to get him previously. It didn't quite work out.
They roasted me when I was on the Don Robbie channel, and it was the end of the transfer window. And Robbie said to me, "Do you want Messi to play for PSG?" And I said, "No." And then in the comment section, people were, "Who is this guy? How can he say he's refusing Messi? He's not respecting Messi." No, guys. It's not that I do not respect Messi. Is that I want the best for my club.
Yeah,
I want the best for my club, and Messi is not a good solution for my club, and he hasn't proved anything. And he you can see now. Exactly.
And as we say, 2 things on that. I reckon partly one reason they signed him is because Neymar wanted him to keep him happy.
Exactly.
And another one, sell shirts and tap into more market. But if you look at it,
you just said to me off camera, you have a Messi shirt.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I do, mate. I do. But
it worked.
But if you actually sit back and look at it from a fan perspective, a football perspective, signing a 34-year-old Lionel Messi is not the answer to PSG being more successful. And you can, I know he's not. This is the first season he's played outside of Spain and stuff. But by all accounts, yes, he's done well in the Champions League this season. I've watched a few league games of PSG. Yes, he's been unlucky. He's hit the woodwork a few times.
He's lazy.
He's been underwhelming. I watched you in the Champions League away at the Etihad, and I've never seen a more lazy performance from a front 3 than I saw from Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe
as well.
Basically defending with 7 players, and then those 3 literally did nothing.
Yeah, I fully agree. He has a bit of a nonchalant attitude on the pitch, which is really annoying. We knew that he was playing a bit like this at Barcelona, but we have the impression he's not involved. He's not making the runs that we need him to make, and he is picturing himself as a grandfather, like he's old. He has nothing to prove anymore. He's here, but we don't really know why he's here. mate, very, very frustrating with Messi. And I knew it from the beginning, as mentioned, that he was not a good player to recruit for the club. But mate, apparently he's enjoying being here with his mates, and I could totally understand. Di Maria is Argentinian. We have Paredes. Pochettino is Argentinian. He has Neymar. He has all his mates. Is in the most beautiful city of the world, the city of love, the city of fashion, or whatever. Then he's just enjoying himself. You know what I mean? But he has nothing to prove. So why is he? We need players that can help us to prove something to the world that we are an amazing team and they want to be involved. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, just on the recruitment this summer, I mean, myself and many others looked at PSG's window last summer and thought, unbelievable business. One of the best windows, not just the best window in the summer in football, but one of the best windows generally in the last few years or for a long time. Obviously, Donnarumma on a free by Naldum, Sergio Ramos, got Hakimi in, got Lionel Messi.
And Nuno Mendes on a loan.
And Nuno Mendes, who's a very good player as well. Yeah. Now you've had a few months to digest those signings and see how they settled in. How pleased are you with that business? I mean,
three of them.
Yeah.
Nuno Mendes, obviously for me, it was the crucial position we needed. So he's on a loan, but there's an option to buy him, and I think it's 40 million or something. I'm sure we're gonna trigger that option.
Yeah, he's good.
Hakimi was well needed as well. So for me, it's the second best recruitment we had during this transfer window. And I had mixed feelings about Donnarumma because Navas for me was still the number one.
It's really good, yeah.
But we needed to prepare the future. So he's proven that he's been amazing with us. To be fair, there's no real number one. That's the issue that we have now as well as a goalkeeper. So I'd say Nuno Mendes, Hakimi, and Donnarumma, because they were useful recruits. Useful. Sergio Ramos, is free. He's free, but he's not useful. Why are we recruiting him? I had plenty of hope with Gini. Plenty of hope with him. Obviously, because he was here to bring us some Champions League experience. But he did not fit in the team. He's always on the bench. The gaffer has tried to play him at different positions because our team is so unorganized. He does not know how to play. He's not feeling comfortable. And I can understand, to be fair. It's not about the player himself. It's just that the team is all over the place. And he was in a club system. And in a club system, everything is square. You know what I mean? So he exactly know what he has to do, where he has to be positioned on the pitch. But here it's all over the place. So he did not find his place, unfortunately. So a bit disappointed, but not really. But Messi, big disappointment. And Sergio Ramos is, mate, it's a fraud. It's just a fraud, man.
They just paired him to sit in the executive box and just watch the games.
Exactly.
but I like him as a footballer. I think he's a fantastic defender. You have to say at the moment it's not worked out. He's probably only played about 5 times with PSG.
You need to be selfish. You need to think about the interests of your club. And from a selfishness perspective, he has nothing to do here. Sorry.
And particularly as you got rid of Thiago Silva to bring him in.
You want me to cry?
But let's get to PSG today then. Obviously, Pochettino took over from Thomas Tuchel, missed out on the French league to Lille last season, joined a point behind, finished a point behind. I looked at that as a bit of a missed opportunity. Lille stuttered a bit in the run-in, dropped a few points which PSG couldn't take advantage of. But now that Poch has been here over a year, what do you make of what he's done? Obviously, a former player there, I think a former captain as well. What do you make of the job he's doing, and how do the fans view him? Because, I mean, again, I've seen things that people aren't that happy with him, think the team's all over the place, there's no style to the team, there doesn't seem to be a plan. Exactly. Like, how do you view PSG at the moment under Poch?
Basically, at first, we were super excited because, as you rightfully mentioned, he's a former PSG player and captain. So it was good to have him back. Obviously, in relation to what I just said earlier, we are very young. So it's good to have some former player involved in the club, etc., etc. And then you know what happened with Lille, and we lost the league, etc. But it was not a big deal in the sense that it was an accident, and he was not. We did not hold him accountable for this because he arrived, I think, 6 months before the end of the season, so it was not really down to him, kinda. But we expected him to bring some and implement some style of play that we were lacking, some identity, and that's what we need, and that's what we're lacking. And unfortunately, he's been really, really disappointing. But again, I think he's. I'm trying to be objective here, and again, I think it's. You know, he has issues with Leonardo as well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yes. So I think it's not the same. It's 50-50. It's not really down to him. I think after 6 months, he already wanted to join Manchester United.
Yeah.
You know, he never really moved in Paris. He's recently renting a place, but he has been living in a hotel in Paris for the first 7-8 months or something, and going back and forth between his house in London, because his family stayed in London, and Paris. Did not really move in. He was always having his head in the Premier League. So, mate, it's just that when you have a gaffer that joins the club but he's not free to decide on what he wants to implement, it's always complicated, man. Always. And that's what happened with Poch. That's what happened with Unai Emery and Thomas Tuchel as well. And now they're thinking and they're speaking about bringing Zidane. But Zidane has said, if I'm joining, you need to get rid of Leonardo. I want to be free, and you need to prove to me that I will be free to implement what I want to implement. Otherwise, there's no point for me joining PSG. And I totally agree with him. And that's what's happening at the moment with Poch. So yeah, disappointed, really disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he'll obviously, you know, linked with Manchester United? It depends, obviously, just realistically between himself and Eric Ten Hag of Ajax for the United job in the summer. By all accounts, I'd imagine Poch wants to join United, and I don't think PSG would probably stand in his way if the compensation offered was
I think they want to get rid of him as well.
Yeah. Would you be happy to get rid of him in the summer? Yeah.
Yes, 100%. As I mentioned, the internal issues we have is something. But the fact that you are replacing players at the 80th minute and you are never anticipating the changes, you are too late. You know, we saw quite a few stuff that we were not happy with, and it was not down to Leonardo. It was not down to the Sheikh of Qatar or anything. So he could have implemented a style of play if he really had a style of play. But did he really have the style of play when he was at Tottenham, for example? That's also exactly.
I don't want to say something like that might be a bit unpopular, but I've got to be honest. Is he even that good a manager? I don't want to sound disrespectful, but like actually look at what he's done. Okay, look, he built a little bit at Tottenham. Fair play to him. Went close in the league up against Leicester when should have done a lot better.
Yeah.
And then look, okay, great, got Tottenham to a Champions League final, fantastic. But they were awful against Liverpool in that match, and they were pretty lucky against Ajax, to be honest. They got outplayed over the two legs. And then what else has he done? Okay, at Espanyol, Southampton, but you look at it, he's literally managed Tottenham where he did okay. And he's at PSG.
I agree.
And I'm not saying he's not a good manager, but
we deserve better.
Yeah, he's nowhere near as good as the media and people like you to think he is. I honestly don't think he is.
I fully agree with you. I think there was a bit of, as I mentioned, we were a bit subjective with him because we wanted to bring a former player, former captain, etc., etc. So I think it was really important in the decision making. Perhaps I'd say instead of looking at his CV and spotting the titles that he has won, none in the Premier League, obviously, because that's Tottenham. And so that's the problem, you know. I think we deserve more and better. I've been a big fan of Carlo Ancelotti when he was at PSG.
Yeah, good manager.
Under the Qatar era, I think he's been, in my personal opinion, the best gaffer we had. Laurent Blanc was quite good as well.
Yeah.
I'll put him in second. So I'd say the early stages were amazing. It was looking bright. The future was looking bright, and then,
yeah, it's gone a little bit downhill, hasn't it? But you're still in the Champions League. Obviously, everyone knows that PSG managers aren't judged on the domestic trophies or the league. That's just a given. It's all about winning that elusive Champions League. That's what the Qataris want. That's what everyone associated with the club wants. Obviously, went close with Thomas Tuchel a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, 2 seasons, yeah.
2 seasons ago. You're in a good position, having won the first leg of the last 16 against Real Madrid. You've got the second leg at the Bernabeu coming up, so you could get through. How confident are you that this could be the year for PSG? Or do you think, again, when it really matters, you get to the sort of semi-finals when you're playing the likes of your Manchester Cities, perhaps playing Chelsea maybe? Do you still have PSG ultimately, have they actually got enough as a team to take that step?
The thing with us, mate, Parisians in general, we are unpredictable.
Yeah.
We can be the best in the world, and if we are lazy as F, we're not going to do anything. The team is picking up their games this season. Whenever they decide to play, they can be a world-class team. Otherwise, they're just lazy. And I have the impression that we are mainly lazy this season. As I mentioned earlier, the team is unorganized. It's a crash test, kinda. You put all the Avengers right next to each other, and you just give it a go. But it does not work like that. And Champions League teams as well are having the experience. Obviously, the fact that we need a bench as well, and that's what we're lacking. Because the bench is very important to win the trophy.
Yeah.
Like the Man City bench, for example, is pretty much a second team, to be fair.
It's ridiculous.
Whereas our bench is whack. I'm sorry, but our bench is terrible. So I'm not expecting anything. Even if on paper and on FIFA we can win it. In reality, I think it's going to be more complicated. We did well against Real Madrid. We can be the best in the world whenever we want to be and choose to be. But in the long run, I think it's not going to be sufficient.
Yeah.
I don't think we can.
Don't think this year is going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
How far do you envisage PSG going? Do you think? Obviously, I know semi-final, yeah.
Yeah, semi-final.
I mean, you look at the other teams in it, and as you say, PSG on their day, if they decide to turn up, we've seen it beat against Bayern Munich, arguably one of the best teams in the world. Went to the Allianz, won there, scored 3 goals, went through over the 2 legs, but then you see other performances that are just dreadful. And so, there doesn't seem to be an in between. There seems to be a bit of a lack of consistency.
Exactly.
And I guess when you get to the latter stages, if I'm as a Chelsea fan, if we're there or thereabouts, last 8, last 4, and you're looking at it and you think, who would you like to draw? PSG would be one of those teams, just based on the fact that the lack of organisation and the fact that the team is lazy, particularly from the front. And you know that defensively you can probably
get only Mbappe now who is not lazy.
Only Mbappe. So you look at it and you think, very good individual players that can literally make something happen out of nothing. Obviously, you were at the Etihad. I watched the game on the TV. City were dominating you, and then you get a goal through nothing because you've got those special players at the top of the pitch that can do that. But that's not always going to happen.
Exactly.
There needs to be more of a collective. Obviously, you've said that you don't think it's going to be PSG's year this year in the Champions League. Who do you fancy? We've seen all the first legs of the last 16 ties. They concluded this week. Who are your favourites for the trophy? Who do you think?
I think it's it might be Man City's year.
Yeah.
To be fair, the pressure is more on them than on us because they've been chasing this trophy for longer than us.
Yeah.
The club is older than us as well, way older than PSG. Even if the investment is pretty much the same, I mean, Pep is a world-class gaffer as well. There is some consistency in the team, organization as well. I mean, when you watch that team playing, it makes total sense. and they've been playing together for quite a few seasons now as well. So I think Man City might win it this season. Otherwise, we are sleeping, I think, on Liverpool.
Yeah,
Everyone is
I'm
sleeping on
about
Liverpool.
them. Yeah,
And the other favorite for me would be again Bayern Munich.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think, I mean, I obviously won it last season. I'd love to win it again, but ultimately, we fall short. We fall short. It's just the way it is. But I do think an English team's going to win it. I think City.
But look, mate, you won it when you were not the favorites, and you
Yeah,
like
it's true.
you
It's
like
true.
being
Yeah,
the underdog. Everyone
yeah,
was sleeping on Chelsea because your
yeah.
Champions League last season was you were consistent. You were not amazing to watch,
No.
but at least you did the job, and
Yeah,
and everyone was sleeping on you, and you made it. And this season is pretty much the same. Everyone is saying Chelsea, they won it last year. Now you're a world champion against
yeah.
Palmeiras. Now you like I was at Sellers Park last weekend for the Palace game.
That was a
You
terrible game,
you
but
were
a
not a
win's a
joy.
win. No.
No, you were not a joy to watch. To be fair, you've been quite lucky, but
Yeah,
still you did the job.
yeah.
So Chelsea,
You
we
never
can we
know.
cannot sleep on Chelsea as well.
No, 100%. I really do think it'll be an English team. I think an English team or Bayern Munich. Would I like PSG to win it? I'm not. I don't mind so much. I mean, if it happens, it happens. It's not a big deal as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting as we get towards those latter rounds as the other teams start dropping out. But yeah, there's certainly going to be some big matches coming up. PSG, Real Madrid. I'm looking forward to that. In a few weeks' time.
Hopefully, we're gonna draw Chelsea as well. It's gonna be a nice away trip for me because it's down the
Oh
road.
yeah, just down the road, just sorted, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, no, mate. Why not? I mean, I was at the Lille game the other night. Mate, Lille took a lot of fans over. There was a lot of them. There were loads of them, and they're making a lot of noise as well.
We have great fans in France. It's slightly different from you guys here in the UK as well. Because the ultras that we have, we are allowed to have the drums, the flares, the banners, and everything. So it's another way to support. But yeah, we have great fans in general in France. But yeah, I would love to play Chelsea. To be fair,
yeah,
I'd love to. We played you quite a few times in the Champions League and historic games as well. So there's a bit of a kind of rivalry with Chelsea, I'd say, considering the fact that now you also have our gaffer and our captain.
yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, mate, I'd love that tie to happen. Hopefully, we can both see the job through in the next couple of weeks, and then maybe we'll get a Chelsea PSG in the quarterfinals. I'd be keen for that. That seems like a good point. Seems like a good point to round out. Mate, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. If people want to check out like what you've been doing, your clothing range, etc., your socials, where's the best place for people to go? Just explain a little bit about your clothing stuff.
Yeah. So what happened is we launched this PSG podcast in English language during the second lockdown because there were some people doing podcasts in English language, but they were not really PSG fan from Paris. Some Americans, some. That arrived with Ibrahimovic or even David Beckham because he finished his career at PSG.
Yeah.
So we decided to launch something with real PSG fans called Parisian Londoner because we are based here in London. And yeah, we are very active on Instagram. We are starting to boost the YouTube channel where we have all our podcasts as well. With very interesting guests actually joining the podcast, and I'm around Don Robbie channel representing PSG.
Yeah.
We have plenty of big projects coming as well with different TV channels this year. And the clothing brand, it's not really a clothing brand, it's just some merchandising that we launched, and it's also available online. You can find the link on the Instagram as well. And yeah, man, I appreciate the invite and to give me the opportunity to share the voice of true Parisian fans, I'd say.
Yeah, no, mate, thank you so much for your time, guys. Make sure you check all of that out. I've linked it all in the description below, so go over there, check it out. Some great stuff there. From myself, if you've tuned in live, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Appreciate all the support. Want to hit 400 by the end of this month. A few more to go. So if you could help me out, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe. And this podcast will be out in audio version as well in the next day or so. So you can listen to that on your commute or wherever you're going. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, mate. Thanks again for your time. Really enjoy it. And hopefully we'll get PSG Chelsea in the next round of the Champions League. Thank you, guys.